Okay, guys, welcome to UGP. We're in the recovery room with Ryan. Ryan, thanks for joining me.
Yeah, of course. Thanks for being here.
I'm looking forward to this. So I saw on your guys' Instagram the other day, Colin Morcow was in here using this very interesting device here. What is this called, this foot plate device?
It's an AIM cubed pressure plate.
A lot of people are familiar with physical limitations in the body. Maybe someone has a nagging, shoulder injury, or I had a football injury in my knee when I was younger. And people will think, okay, well, how does that affect my golf swing? But I personally wasn't aware of how much, I guess, just the nature of your feet. Some people are flat-footed. Some people have, certain biases in the feet. How literally from the ground up that can affect your ability to make certain motions in the golf swing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So there's an ideal tripod in the foot, which is the big toe knuckle, the little toe knuckle, and the heel.
Right.
That's ideal.
Okay.
So the wider the base of support in each feet, the better force you can produce into the ground.
Gotcha. What you guys are going to see is, this is the real assessment that you guys do at UGP. One of the first stages is assessing this. We're going to move on to some other sessions out in the performance area, do some golf assessment, do some fitness assessment stuff. But this is really where we start to get a baseline of how this works, because I guess from there, everything moves up into the body. And that's,
everything moves up. And it's not to say the feet are always the problem.
Right.
You could have had a neck injury or a back injury that filters movement down into the feet.
Oh, interesting.
But we look at the whole body as one, because it's a closed system. So in order to make change in one part of the body, it has to change the rest of the system as well.
Understood.
Okay, go ahead and stand on the pressure plate for me. It's recording the average pressures of your feet right now. In an ideal situation, we would want 25% in each quadrant. So you're about 31 on the left heel,
Yep.
37% on the right heel.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Your base of support is basically the outside ring of both your feet.
Which, if I recall from our initial chat, is not necessarily ideal.
Not ideal.
Yeah.
And based on your base of support, we have your center of pressure. So that's the middle dot here. So the middle dot is an average of the 4 quadrants. So you're predominantly in the right heel. And then how you create this pressure could relate to how you deliver the club.
Okay. Because it's your natural state, obviously, and then once you get into posture, you might be kind of biasing yourself before you even start moving the club.
For you, for instance, let's just, for argument's sake, you are already set up more right. So you're 53% on the right. You could potentially be already set up towards your lead side.
Yeah, into my, yeah. Makes
So you're already at a disadvantage. Let's say you're 15 degrees rotated to the right.
Yes.
You feel like you're rotating to a full swing. But you're already starting towards
and I've been told that before. So I've actually had a session a few weeks ago with a coach of mine in Florida, and he said that my setup kind of looked like this at times, a little bit biased, open and towards the target. So something we worked on, which I need to continue working on, is getting a bit more square and less like this. So I'm not surprised to see that. So I'm kind of already setting myself up a little bit open. And then from there, if I feel like I make a 90-degree turn, it's already like minus 15 degrees. Okay.
In that 15 seconds, this is your center of mass bouncing around inside of your base of support.
Yeah, I would not have thought that I had been moving. I mean, as you said, don't try to keep yourself still, just try to stand naturally. It's amazing how much that actually is quite a bit of movement.
Something structurally isn't aligned, allowing the natural mechanics to happen.
I'm not surprised by that.
I don't want to say mobility.
So it's out of alignment in terms of like the knee and the leg and everything like that.
Yeah, potentially.
Makes sense.
And then there's not much pressure underneath the first met. I'm just going to move the talus bone. Currently it's internally rotated.
I'm not surprised. So when I broke this leg, I think I had a habit of, like when I walked with crutches, I had a habit of doing this.
Okay. So your perception of center has become that. Currently your foot is just collapsing inward, which if you have any trouble posting up on this lead leg and rotating your pelvis through,
I do.
This could be the reason.
That's really interesting.
So if your foot is always collapsed and rotated inward, try and rotate towards the right, you're going to feel a wall.
Yes.
And most likely have to lean backwards.
Okay.
Yeah.
That makes, I mean, it's exactly what I do. I do as a kind of a fault in my swing.
So the exercises will incorporate moving the bones in the opposite direction that you're currently in.
So undoing sort of like what's a bit of an obstacle here to rotation, where you want to be here at impact, I can really only get kind of like here at impact.
I just want to create an experience of getting your talus in neutral. So we use these wedges, create a different position of your foot.
Right.
And then I'm just going to ask you to rotate towards the right. A lot more range of motion.
Feels quite a bit easier.
So lifting the foot up and neutralizing the talus already created a little better experience for the rotation.
So because you've lifted this here is less in. It was
Exactly.
inward before, and the inward talus position was making the hip restricted.
Exactly. Go ahead and put this left foot back again. A little farther. Perfect. Okay. Okay. So now you're using your body weight to now pronate the foot. And we're using the wedges to encourage the bone position.
Yeah, so my brain being scared of re-injuring the leg, which is where all these compensations came from, stuck with me. And you're basically just rebuilding the trust to say, yes, you can actually do these things. You're not going to hurt yourself. You're not going to re-break your leg. That's really interesting.
Yeah.
I would not have gone, I thought, to be honest, like I knew we were going to assess the feet and stuff. I thought for sure we would talk more upper body stuff to begin with, but I was not aware of the level of compensations I was making from the foot up, really, into the hip for an injury that's legitimately 20 years old. And so many people, like we make videos all the time about drills. People go, hey, I've been trying this drill. Like I can feel it in the drill, but I'm having trouble making it actually occur in my swing. I feel like I'm doing it right. What's wrong? And I'm one of those people. I say that all the time. And now I can actually see like, well, if you don't have an assessment like this, and my problem is pretty specific to me in this injury, but there's a million different types of injuries or physical restrictions that could really have the same ramifications. And so if you don't have this done to some degree or have some awareness of it, you could be doing these drills, you know, to the best of your ability, have the best of intentions. You could have a great work ethic, but realistically, will you ever actually get there? Maybe not, right?
Maybe not.
Now, I'm with Matt here. We're going to do the fitness assessment. Kind of starts with a bit of a Q&A before we move into some of the exercises and stuff like that.
Yep.
Cool.
Yeah, so we'll be picking up a lot where you and Ryan kind of left off.
Great.
You know, making sure there aren't any precursors to potential injury.
Perfect.
Kind of minimizing that risk of injury, and also now starting to think about how can we take what we worked on from a mobility and movement standpoint and start to increase intensity a little bit, putting some load and tension on your body. Some things I always like to learn about with everyone I work with, but you know, what's your kind of athletic background? You know, outside of golf too, what other sports have you played growing up?
So I played hockey growing up.
Okay.
I stopped playing competitively probably in my early teens.
Beautiful.
Played casually since, like once a week kind of thing. I'm a bit of an on again, off again gym guy.
Okay.
There's been periods of time where I've taken it quite seriously, strength training and stuff. More recently, I mostly go to the gym just to get some exercise, do some cardio. I find it's good for my mental health. I'm not doing a ton of you know, heavy lifting kind of stuff.
You know, Ryan told me a little bit about the broken femur and kind of some of the issues that was kind of maybe causing with some of your rotational capacity too. And those are things we're going to kind of keep diving into today.
Cool.
And as we dive into this stuff, as we go through these tests, let me know if anything bugs you,
Sure.
if anything feels tight, give me some input. I'm going to take a bunch of notes as we go through today and send you a recap of everything we kind of discuss.
Great.
And then you're going to have kind of a good, real solid foundational baseline and understanding of where you're at now. And then we can actually start tracking this stuff as we go through our program and start putting you into these workouts and kind of have a mobility program for you that you're going to develop with Ryan.
Yep.
And then from there too, your practice program that you're going to go from working with O'Neill on the swing side of things too. And our goal is to really help you understand how all of these elements individually actually turn into a whole process here at UGP.
Yeah.
So the next thing we're going to work on here, Matt, is going to be going into what we call our Tai Chi swing. So it's going to be a 2-minute swing, and you're only going to get one swing to do. Even slower. Good, perfect. Slow and easy, slow and easy. Club head just has to keep moving, even slower. Just keep it moving. Yep. And start to take notice of where you feel tension kind of rise in your body. Good. Keep that club head moving, slow and easy. Any restriction going through to follow through there? Any stiffness, tightness?
Feels better in the follow through than the backswing.
Okay.
I don't feel much, maybe a little restriction in this hip though.
Okay.
A little tightness as I kind of
Fully turn through?
fully turn through.
Okay.
Yeah, that would be the
Relax.
things I really feel. I feel a lot in this whole like deltoid neck area. As soon as I get maybe here, I really feel that start to get tense and like locked up.
Okay.
And probably just like a little bit of stretch kind of all through this side.
But most of it going into backswing.
Most of it going
Not
into
as much going to follow through. Good.
Yeah.
I just want you to create some speed. And relax.
31.
Attaboy. Thank you.
Made it.
Thank you. So one thing we'll kind of take a look at here as we kind of start digging through some of this. T-spine, as you and Ryan talked about,
Yes.
that rotation back, a little sticky.
Definitely.
Hip mobility, that kind of works in conjunction, but he was kind of talking to you about this right hip in particular.
Absolutely.
Kind of working and feeling a little stuck there. Something we're also going to continue to work on. Shoulder mobility, as we
Definitely.
saw with
Yeah.
the swing,
This one here.
we feel some tension there. Those are things that these are like kind of our three that we're going to start with a little bit more so with you.
Cool.
And then lower body stability was a big one for us, and lateral stability. And that was our jumping,
Yeah.
our single leg balance. So one thing we saw with that single leg test, when we close the eyes, one thing we're doing is we're taking away a lot of feedback that your body utilizes to actually understand, hey, this is how I need to balance. And when you take away that feedback from the environment, the only thing you really have working with you now is the actual point of contact.
Right.
And we saw some struggles with this right foot, ankle, and
Oh,
femur.
definitely. Yeah.
And we saw how those start to come into play now with balance when that's really the only feedback you're getting from the environment to let your body know how to balance.
Gotcha.
So, those are just things that just shed a light on what we want to work on and how we're going to attack this stuff. Realistically, about 55% of our capacity from a physical standpoint.
Oh, so that's cool. So based on how many things you feel need addressing, you can sort of tell someone, hey, maybe someone comes in that's an athlete and is 80% of their capacity.
Exactly.
But you're telling me you basically have a lot of room for improvement, which is
a lot
great.
of room for improvement.
It's
And
great,
it's
yeah.
really, this is a way for us to kind of give you like a grade at the end of it all,
Yeah.
And it's nothing bad or good. It just helps us really understand there is a lot of room for improvement.
Yeah, it's cool because I think so many people go about it swing flaw, and I talked about this with Ryan too. I have a swing flaw. Coach says you need to move this position, this position, this position.
Absolutely.
And a lot of people have no success with that, and I can see why. And I've been the same way, because if you haven't assessed what your body's capable of, if you haven't assessed weaknesses the way you have or balance issues, you can do all the drills you want. You may never be able to achieve that motion, or at least if you do, it's going to be hard work.
Yeah.
Versus going about it kind of more body first. Part of what I'm enjoying about this experience is what I want to kind of convey to people watching is a lot of people look at like fitness and be like, I like golf, but I don't see myself doing fitness for golf. And I would have put myself in that camp as well.
Absolutely.
I think part of it is it's just like one, they don't really know how to do it.
Exactly.
Or two, they're not understanding the real effect it will have on the swing. So it's really like, is the juice worth the squeeze in that sense? Like,
Absolutely.
sure, I can go to the gym and do all these exercises. I'm not a gym guy. I got to make all this time for this. What if I don't see results in my golf swing? Whereas I think this process will show people just the simplest assessment for an injury that I used to have, how much difference that's making to my rotation. And this assessment, how many imbalances I have in my swing that when I go and try to hit balls and work on my golf swing, I'm basically just starting at a disadvantage. So
Absolutely.
that's what I'm liking about it so far, and hopefully that's coming through for everybody watching.